Hey yo, what's going on with the viewers of the tube? Tyler here with some of your guys' favorite type of content. Some of you guys don't like it, but I'm doing it. I'm not live, I'm not out in my studio, but out in my backyard, aka beautiful nature once again. And I'm sure you saw from the thumbnail title, this Bitcoin pump is a trap. Uh-oh, beware. Are we going down? Are we going up? Down, up, who knows? But I'm going to try to explain why I think this is the beginning of the end, you guys. So let's first talk about the Bitcoin price. Well, Bitcoin, initially pumped. Yesterday we got down to like 36,000 and we've pumped all the way back up above 39,000, looking towards 40K. But as the reality took over, we started going down a little bit, but we are hodling. So what's the reason for the initial pump? Well, futures in the stock market were extremely good as the markets closed yesterday. Of course, during midday, we had a little bit of panic and fear, which caused us to go down to the 36 because of the Russia-Ukraine tensions. Russia was moving troops in and blah, blah, blah. And Joe Biden was going to speak and possibly impose some sanctions. Well, the reality is already taking over. The stocks are dipping. We're already back below yesterday's close. So Bitcoin is starting to succumb to that pressure. But I want to talk about, why I think this is the beginning of the end. It's not necessarily the beginning of the end for Bitcoin, but the beginning of the end for how we live our lives in the traditional sense. So I'm going to get a little bit conspiracy on us towards the end of the episode, but let's just begin talking about the Russia-Ukraine tensions. So let's talk about the financial sanctions. Everyone thought, because of a Senate bill that was drawn up called the mother of all sanctions, that they were going to employ those sanctions because that's what they said. Russia makes any more moves, we're going to drop the B-O-M-B, the bomb, or BAM if you want to spell it with an A. Well, they were actually very modest sanctions, and that's the reason futures were so up and oil was down, because basically the way the world works right now wasn't completely getting, wrecked like people thought it was going to. So the sanctions are against just two of Russia's largest financial institutions and Russian sovereign debt, as well as Russian oligarchs. So they're basically stopping them from, raising money from the West, getting financing from the West, but they aren't cutting, them off from the traditional financial world whatsoever, you guys. Of course, the mother of all sanctions is what we need to talk about. The mother of all sanctions is the one that would, it would kill Russia in the short term. Why do I say short? I'll get to that in a second. So the mother of all sanctions is actually kicking Russia out of the SWIFT banking system. Basically, how money is transferred across this world is using SWIFT, and it's denominated, of course, in US dollars. The US dollars are, what power this world, the petrodollar. The US dollar has global dominance. All trade is done basically in US dollars. So Russia and China actually have some economic ties that have been bubbling for the past decade and beyond. So they both have been developing alternatives to SWIFT. China has the SIP system and Russia has the SPFS system. Both of them have been in works, and there's trials been going down to see how trade could happen between China and Russia without using SWIFT. Well, yeah, you guys, SWIFT is going to have competitors. It's already there. But they haven't really, decided on what these new systems, when they do work together, what they will be denominated in. Will it be, the Russian ruble, or will it be the Chinese yuan? Well, maybe it could be both, and both based on a CBDC, central bank digital currency. As we know, China has already theirs. As we know, Russia is beginning trials for theirs right now. Why so quickly are these two countries moving on a CBDC? Well, in my opinion, it's because their new financial system, their alternatives to SWIFT, are going to use the CBDC. And it's going to make trade that much smoother. I mean, The future is digital, you guys. And, you know, once people see the savings and how fast, you know, settlement can occur using CBDCs, other countries may just join in and they could create a full alternative. So if this happens, you guys, you know, if these CBDC trials are working and, you know, trade is able to happen between the two countries and beyond very quickly, guess what's going to happen? The U.S. is going to be forced to create a CBDC. As we know, Joe Biden, he's supposed to be releasing a crypto executive order any day this week. But guess what? Because of Russia-Ukraine tensions, that order may be delayed. And as we know, Janet Yellen, she was saying, we don't need to issue executive order right now because we need to learn more about CBDCs. I have a feeling the executive order is going to be delayed. They've already planned the US CBDC. They've already been researching it. But now the Russia-Ukraine tensions and, you know, them creating their alternative financial systems with CBDCs is going to force the United States to release their own CBDC much quicker than people expect. And that's why I think it's the beginning of the end. You know, so here's my conspiracy theory, you know, the global conspiracy, you know, create COVID, you know, create this global pandemic that was overblown, you know, they muzzled people for way too long to justify the financial policy. So what is their financial policy? Planned global inflation and supply issues. I mean, if you go to your store right now, you can see the supply issues on the shelves. I mean, from your supermarket down to your electronic store, box store, you can see supply issues across the board, you guys. So global inflation, supply issues. And then they're going to use Russia and China to justify this inflation and price increases. Oh, supply chains are getting clogged, global tensions. Guess what? Energy, food, everything is going to increase. So they're going to make stuff so unaffordable that you're going to have to sell all of your assets, stocks, including Bitcoin. And then, guess what? We move to a CBDC, where you have literally no privacy. And guess what? You will own nothing and be happy. So happy. So you guys, I don't think this is the end for Bitcoin. I do think there is going to be a stand, a big stand for those who believe in true decentralization against the order of CBDCs. It is very possible, you know, with the launch of the crypto executive order that I said, you know, it could crash the markets this week. Well, Russia-Ukraine tensions are rising, so they're probably, this was planned, in my opinion, that they are going to delay it to research the CBDC more, but in reality, it's to let the Russia-Ukraine tensions boil over some more and higher financial, you know, sanctions get imposed. Russia creates their own SWIFT, starts trading with China using CBDCs. Their trials go better than possible, and it forces the US to move faster. So, you guys, in my opinion, we need to be looking out for these things and hodl your Bitcoin. In tomorrow's video, I'm actually probably going to be dropping it tomorrow, but I'm telling you guys, by holding any amount, small amounts of Bitcoin, even like 0.25, a quarter of one, then you are going to be in the world's top 1% of Bitcoin holders. And in my opinion, having that Bitcoin is going to be so freaking dang important. It's going to be more important than holding dollars because dollars are going to be transferred into a CBDC system. CBDCs are taking over, and CBDCs are going to destroy your privacy. They're going to watch you from what you purchase, how you purchase it, when you purchase it, and the government is going to have all that information. No more dollars, you guys. So luckily, Bitcoin is just tied to a public key. Of course, you know, it is a immutable ledger and fully public, but you can, you know, not hide it necessarily, but be just behind a private key. So you guys, again, watch out for tomorrow. watch out for today. I have a feeling the markets are going to sink, and we have something big planned in the future that's going to change this world, and it is the beginning of the end. Cheers. I'll see you next time.